Plutarch said, "Character is simply habit long continued." Today we're going to continue with Dryden's translation of the life of Nicias. I'm going to throw some stuff up on the screen that should help you follow along. Now, therefore, that the siege was protracted, and they heard of the difficulties that pressed their army, they grew enraged against Cleon. But he turned all the blame upon Nicias, charging it on his softness and cowardice that the besieged were not yet taken. "Were I general," said he, "they should not hold out so long." The Athenians not unnaturally asked the question, "Why then, as it is, do you not go with a squadron against them?" And Nicias, standing up, resigned his command at Pylos to him, and bade him take what forces he pleased along with him, and not be bold in words out of harm's way, but go forth and perform some real service for the commonwealth. Cleon at the first tried to draw back, disconcerted at the proposal, which he had never expected. But the Athenians insisting, and Nicias loudly upbraiding him, he thus provoked and fired with ambition, took upon him the charge, and said further, that within 20 days after he embarked, he would either kill the enemy upon the place, or bring them alive to Athens. This the Athenians were readier to laugh at than to believe, as on other occasions also his bold assertions and extravagances used to make them sport, and were pleasant enough. As, for instance, it is reported that once when the people were assembled, and had waited his coming a long time, at last he appeared with a garland on his head, and prayed them to adjourn to the next day. "For," said he, "I am not at leisure today. I have sacrificed to the gods, and am to entertain some strangers." Whereupon the Athenians, laughing, rose up and dissolved the assembly. However, at this time he had good fortune, and in conjunction with Demosthenes conducted the enterprise so well that, within the time he had limited, he carried captive to Athens all the Spartans that had not fallen in battle. This brought great disgrace on Nicias, for this was not to throw away his shield, but something yet more shameful and ignominious, to quit his charge voluntarily out of cowardice, and voting himself, as it were, out of his command of his own accord, to put into his enemy's hand the opportunity of achieving so brave an action. Aristophanes has a jest against him on this occasion in the Birds. "Indeed, not now the word that must be said is, do like Nicias or retire to bed." And again, in his Husbandman, "I wish to stay at home and farm, what then? Who should prevent you? You, my countrymen, whom I would pay 1,000 drachmas down, to let me give up office and leave town. Enough, content, the sum 2,000 is, with those that Nicias paid to give up his." Besides all this, he did great mischief to the city by suffering the accession of so much reputation and power to Cleon, who now assumed such lofty airs, and allowed himself in such intolerable audacity as led to many unfortunate results, a sufficient part of which fell to his own share. Amongst other things, he destroyed all the decorum of public speaking. He was the first who ever broke out into exclamations, flung open his dress, smote his thigh, and ran up and down whilst he was speaking, things which soon after introduced amongst those who managed the affairs of state such license and contempt of decency as brought all into confusion. And that's all there is for today. We'll end with our closing words. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Thanks.